follow a TV anchorman when I'm giving my comments. Now that I know Bill and I are distant relatives, I'm feeling much better. It's a pleasure for me to be here this morning, and quite frankly, it's a real honor to have an opportunity to come and speak with you about our company's commitment to the United Way and about the extraordinary work the United Way does in the communities that we all live and work in. And I thought I'd begin by just telling you a little bit about Andersen. And this year happens to be our 110th anniversary as a company. We were founded back in 1903 by a Danish immigrant by the name of Hans Andersen. Hans traveled to the United States in search of a better life and ended up here in the St. Croix Valley. He actually founded the company as the Andersen Lumber Company in Hudson, Wisconsin. And as the story goes, the company was doing well and prospering and growing, and Hans wanted to expand and went to what was then the City Council of Hudson. It was probably called something different, and they didn't feel like there was enough available land to expand into. So Hans bought some property over in Bayport, Minnesota, and in the middle of the winter in 2013, once the ice had firmly frozen on the St. Croix River, he and his employees picked up all the equipment, dragged it across the river, and set up shop in Bayport, Minnesota, where we still call our home today. You know, I have to say it's maybe an editorial comment, but I don't think that was probably the best decision the City Council of Hudson ever made. But I will tell you, it's worked out very well for us. And while the company has changed a great deal over the years, we've grown from a small local lumber company to the largest window and door company in North America and the largest wood window and door company in the world, with operations all across North America and a supply chain that spans the globe. We still make our home here in the St. Croix Valley on the beautiful banks of the St. Croix River, and we are very, very proud to be a member of this community. And we take that responsibility very seriously in terms of being a good neighbor and giving back to the community in ways that makes it a better place for everyone to live. And a little bit about the philanthropy of Andersen. You know, we're a privately held company, so we don't share a lot of information. But I think you'll find this kind of interesting to know. First of all, a little over 20% of our company happens to be owned by foundations that the family formed generations ago in order to pursue their mission of giving back to the community. In addition to that, we have a corporate foundation that was actually established 70 years ago last year, that over the course of that 70 years has given back about $50 million to the communities that our employees live and work in, with most of that money going right back here into the St. Croix Valley. Back in 2003, we celebrated our centennial anniversary, and it was quite a party. But one of the things that we did that was very, very special is we committed at that time to building 100 Habitats for Humanity homes over a 5-year period of time, in all the various communities that our employees live and work in today. And while the financial commitment was important, what was really special about that was it was an opportunity for us to kind of rally all of our employees and get out on those job sites, work side by side, swinging a hammer, lifting a helping hand, and building homes for families where, you know, all those families are really looking for is a safe place to raise their family and to live. And Habitat has been an organization that we've been very, very committed to for a long, long time, and that kind of was the highlight, quite frankly, of a lot of the work that we've done over years with Habitat. But the thing that I'll tell you is that as important as all those company-oriented things are, what to me is really special and what I'm most proud of when I look across the Andersen organization is the contributions that are made by our employees all across the company every day in the communities that they live and work in. One of the things that we began to do, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago now, is each year we try to recognize one individual across the Andersen Corporation who we believe has made extraordinary contributions into their community. It's an award that we call the Garofalo Service Award. And many of you in this room know Don Garofalo. Don was a past chairman and chief executive officer of Andersen. And we named the award after Don for his lifetime of achievement in terms of community service. And the example that he set for the rest of the organization during his time at Andersen. And I have to tell you, I have an opportunity working with many of the members of my team that are here today to review each and every one of those nominations as they come in each year. And the stories are truly extraordinary, and they're truly inspirational. And we're talking about people from all walks of life who come to work every day and work hard, do different things, whether they're in the sales organization, in the plant, one of our engineers, or in any other profession at Andersen. And yet there's another whole dimension to those people, and it's the incredible work that they do in the community and the difference in the lives of so many others that they have through their extraordinary contributions. And you say, what does all this have to do with the United Way? Well, I tell you, in our company, at the center of all of this community service is the United Way. And the work that we do as an organization, teaming up with our employees in order to raise funds for this extraordinary organization that we're all here to honor today. I didn't have the full history, so I asked Lori Bauer to do a little digging for me. But next year will mark the 60th year that our company has been contributing to the United Way, and in one form or another, running the United Way campaign. It's the one organization where we truly do pool our resources. Getting employees to step up and contribute, matching that with company funds, and working together to multiply our efforts in order to support such an important organization in our community. And when we look at the things that are necessary to run a successful United campaign, I'll tell you that there are a few things that we focus on. First of all, it ought to be fun, right? It's an opportunity to create a lot of camaraderie all across the organization. As part of making it fun, you also want to celebrate the successes and the tremendous contributions that the United Way makes in our communities. You have to bring it to life for the employees so that they really feel when they're making those contributions, they're putting it to work for a very, very worthy cause. And the third thing I think that's important is you have to make that giving a very, very personal experience. Our philosophy is really simple. First of all, to run a successful campaign, you need to have a broad base of support. Right? You want as many of your employees to contribute as possible. So we've adopted this philosophy of not only does every dollar matter, but every employee matters. Because it's not just about the money. It's about the fact that when you get them involved, when you get them engaged, they become an advocate. Not only of the United Way, but all of the important work that goes on throughout the community, and they become an ambassador. So first and foremost, we want to see that support be broad-based throughout the organization. And we rely on our employees to tell the important story of the United Way. But the other dimension that's important is what we call leadership and giving. Because the reality is that while you have a broad base of support, there's always a core set of employees that represent a significant portion of the giving and who are much more deeply engaged in the organization. And you want to cultivate both that strong core, people who are not just making large financial contributions because they have the capacity to do so, but have gotten personally engaged in the organization with their time and their talents, okay, and use them as the ambassadors to develop that broad base of support across the organization. Today, we've got a couple of tables of folks here, and I tell you, they all share one thing in common, which is they care deeply about this organization. We have three people that I'd like to give some special recognition to, one of which is Dave Schmeeken. Dave, maybe you want to stand up. Sharon Tolba. And Dave and Sharon serve on the Washington County Board for the United Way and have gotten very, very involved in this program. And the other is Jennifer Ewing, who serves over on the St. Croix United Way on the Wisconsin side of the river, who's also been very, very deeply involved in this organization. So, you make a difference one person at a time, and these three individuals, along with everybody in this room, have made a huge difference in our community. So in closing, I'd just like to offer this. First of all, I'd like to offer a thanks to all of you for being here this morning. It's quite a gathering early on a Thursday morning, and it's great to see that level of support. A special thanks to those of you in the room who have committed your
time, your talents, and your treasure to the United Way and have gotten deeply engaged in this room. To the people who work as part of the United Way and the affiliated organizations day in and day out, thank you for your commitment. Without you, our support wouldn't make a difference. And I would just, in closing, challenge all of us to make this year's campaign the most successful campaign ever. You know, when you look at what's going on in the world and what's going on in our community, the good news is that the economy is coming back. You know, we live in the housing market. During the last 5 years, we went through what arguably is the worst recession in the history of our industry. By most measures, if you compare it to the Great Depression, you could argue that it was as bad and maybe worse than the Great Depression from a housing perspective. But the housing market's coming back. You know, everybody's walking around with a little more of a bounce in their step. You know, we're feeling the prosperity that comes as that cycle turns. And yet the reality in our communities is the needs are greater than they've ever been. So while I think all of us feel like things are getting better, we have to remember that there's still an awful lot of people who have an awful lot of needs in our community. And our responsibility is to share some of that prosperity and make sure we're doing the things we need to do to keep this community and the fabric of this community strong for all of our neighbors and all of our citizens. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Bill, and it was great being with you, and we look forward to the rest of the program.
Thank you very much.